what's your thoughts on Conor since the loss? Because I've been watching some of Tom's videos, and Tom's doing a great job with the news videos. They're really, really good. People, go check them out. But he's constantly bringing up Conor's demeanor after the fight, basically saying, "Oh, I wonder how Conor's doing." Actually, he's doing great, and he's like on a football field with his whiskey, and you know, he looks fine.
And the main question is, I wonder how Conor is taking all of this. Well, it doesn't look like he's bothered at all. He looks like he's just having one hell of a time promoting his whiskey proper 12 with the Dallas Cowboys.
What's your thoughts on Conor's demeanor, how he's kind of shown himself in public after the loss? Because it seems quite different than when he lost to, say, Nate Diaz, where he kind of secluded himself and he went into training, whereas now he's out promoting his whiskey. He looks happy. He doesn't really look sad. Do you think that this loss hasn't affected him, maybe because he's made so much money that the competition isn't as important to him? Or is it just the fact that he's promoting his whiskey and he needs to put on this face to do this?
Yeah, I think there's, to a smaller degree, an element of both. Smaller degree in terms of, yeah, he has to promote whiskey, but no, he doesn't. He doesn't have to. You know, he doesn't have to go to a Dallas Cowboys game and throw the football and go out on the field. He could have been on the sideline serious, just talking to people. He didn't necessarily have to flaunt himself out there. And I get that does help his business. I mean, there is all of that is relevant. But the difference in that you brought up about the Diaz point, and this is something that I had posted about on Twitter, is after the Diaz loss, that guy disappeared. Like, he got kicked off of UFC 200 for not wanting to do press obligations. He literally said he wasn't going to show up to a press conference, which Ronda Rousey is, you know, it's funny that she called him out for all his antics and special treatment. It's like, you're literally the only fighter to get away with that ever.
Pot calls the kettle black, as they say.
Yeah, even Conor on this fight still did 2 press conferences, you know what I mean? And he made $50 million, you know, insane. But yeah, it's definitely one of those kind of situations where I think he took it way harder when he lost to Diaz, because he was on the ascendant still. He was still going after that not lifelong goal, I guess, but that goal he had as soon as he got his second belt in Cage Warriors. He was like, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that in the UFC, and I'm going to shock the world. You know, he had this, you know, at least from his own perspective. And he was on this task, you know, he was going to do it no matter what, you know. And now he's done that. And he already talked about in that interview with the Mac Life, his own guys, saying that he fell out of love with the game. And I think you're seeing a little bit of that now, where by the way, I don't take anything away from Khabib's performance, by the way. I think McGregor was ready. I think he was there for that fight. There are some strange reports that something happened before the fight that somehow got under the radar, but I don't really put any credence into that, because, I mean, it looked like he was ready. I mean, he almost got Khabib into a full mount in that first round. He just wasn't good enough to do it. Khabib was just that much better, where he's like, nope, I see what you're doing, and reversed that. But it just seemed like he basically went into hiding after, and not even hiding. Hiding is the wrong word. He went into, as John Kavanagh called it, actually, when he was, you know, interviewed by Ariel Wani last week, he went into a nightmare training camp.
Yeah.
He didn't want to see the light of day, because all he wanted to do, I mean, he put up pictures on the wall, which Nate Diaz made fun of Nate Diaz getting punched in the first fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, he was so damn focused, and he was so insulted by that loss and by himself for having lost, that he internalized it and focused solely on that task. And right now, I'm seeing a multitasking guy who's going out doing a bunch of fun stuff, and it feels like it's just another loss. Like, I hope that's not the case. I hope for any fighter, I don't care how popular or bad they are. I hoped it for Ronda Rousey when she came back against Amanda Nunes, that we'll see the best version of them, because ultimately that's what we're there to watch, the best fight possible, people competing at the absolute top of their game. You know, that's what you want to see. But when you look at everything, I mean, he still went out and partied after that. You know, there's all the footage that's come out from that. he doesn't exactly look like a beaten fighter to me. And the way he lost to Diaz, I mean, you could even see the anguish on his face. I mean, the photos, it's palpable. You see it, and you're not witnessing that now. And in my mind, he's basically it's just another loss on another big stage. He got paid. What's the big deal? And it's a huge deal, but in comparison, you can only lose so many times and feel as terrible as you did the first time.
It's a really interesting one, because I know John Kavanagh has come out and he said that basically after the loss, he started getting essays from Conor talking about what he would have done if he got another chance and what he should have done.
That's a good point.
So I'm not sure. It could just be Conor putting on that public persona, because you're right, he doesn't have to go out and do this whiskey promotion thing, but you'd have to imagine that the people he's working with to get this whiskey off the ground, that they built this marketing campaign weeks ahead, months ahead. So he probably does have to do it unless he wants to upset a lot of people. And he probably wants to do it for himself, because when you do think about it, at the end of the day, if this thing does become huge, and it has had an incredible launch, his whiskey, his Proper 12 whiskey, that could just set him for life more than what fighting could do. That's just a continuous product that he has. So I'm sure he needs to put some kind of focus on that as well. But maybe behind the scenes, he's a different guy, and he's not as happy as he's playing out to be in the media or in public. So you never know.